All right, pay attention, listen up. Is inventory about to explode? That's what we're going to cover in this video. You know this is a no BS YouTube channel, so let's get into it right here, right now. If we take a look right here at the active listings year over year, that gap continues growing. And I know last week I said that I believe that maybe that gap was not growing year over year. I take that back, because last Friday we actually hit almost 50% more inventory year over year. And if you take a look here, that gap continues increasing. Now I'm going to cover a lot of stuff in this video showing you why inventory potentially is going to explode here and why there's going to be some great deals potentially ahead here in the second half. And I'm going to dive into a lot of different data, so pay attention to this. Right here, if we take a look at active listings, we see this blue-purple line is much higher than in the years past, and we are essentially at the peaks of September, October, with still months and months of inventory growth left. Inventory that's coming to the market, new inventory that's hitting the market, is higher every single month, year over year. True here for April as well. We still have a few more days, and yet we surpassed the amount of new homes put on the market in April of 2025 compared to April of 2024, with again a few more days left of inventory to continue hitting the housing market. Now, I want to show you guys some stuff here real quick of some articles that I found, and I'm going to give you some of my information of what I'm seeing as well. Pending home sales rise 2% but remain near record lows, early warning signs for spring selling season. Now, this actually contradicts what the article states from the NAR, the National Association of Realtors. Home sales fell 5.9%. So I'm going to dive into both of these and explain what's going on. Pending home sales rise but remain sluggish for the spring selling season and near record lows. Well, one thing I just want to point out, if we're in the spring selling season and it's sluggish, what's the second half of the year going to look like? Think about that. Now, when we scroll down here, this is actually using February's data, where the NAR is not. So right here, it's stating grew 2% in February from the prior month, and this is also pending home sales, where the other one is existing, so it's not taking into consideration new construction. However, pending transactions declined 3.6% from the same month in 2024. Even though it's up month over month, it's below year over year, with inventory continuing to hit at higher levels. So right there, 3.6% less, which is the weakest year for home sales since 1995. Also, pay attention to what was the population in 1995. How many more people do we have in America in 2025 compared to 1995? And if home sales are the lowest point since 1995, if we went percentage of the US population, might be sending us into the 80s, maybe even the 70s, who knows? Anyway, that's another thing to keep in mind. Now, right here, I'm going to show you the NAR. Existing home sales fell 5.9% month over month to a seasonally adjusted rate. In March of 2025, year over year, sales also are down 2.4%. So we're continuing to see this nationwide and here locally in our Utah housing market, where inventory is growing, under contracts have not rebounded to the pre-pandemic levels, sales are at record lows. All of this is indicating, if we continue seeing this inventory growing, that it's going to be a much better second half. And it's going to resemble that 2022 period right here, where we saw the market drop upwards of 15%. Now, maybe we don't see 15% if we don't see a recession, but hey, 10% is a possibility. And right here, they're stating, the NAR chief economist, home buyers and sellers remain sluggish in March due to affordability challenges associated with mortgage rates. I guess it's only the mortgage rates. I guess houses being $500,000 or $1 million is not the reason, it's just the interest rates. But anyway, if we go back here and we take a look at this, well, the two guys that control what's going on more than anybody else in the US housing market, in the economy, Jerome Powell and Donald Trump, are having a beef. They're not getting along together. Trump attacks Powell, which puts stocks on alert, almost caused a recession in itself. There was a whole sell-off, then the whole tariff thing. And interest rates were actually going up because the market was freaking out. Is he really going to fire Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Fed, even though he can't? Then he pulled back and said, oh, I was never going to fire him. Well, that's because the stock market was about to crash. Anyway, we have the two men in America that impact the stock stocks, economy, and housing market, everything more than anybody else, and they're beefing. So that's not going to be putting downwards pressure on this needed relief when it comes to high mortgage rates. So pay attention to that as well. Now, if we go over here, and I'm going to show you guys some other things, number of listings entered. If you take a look at this blue line right here, you see that there is much more listings being entered year over year every month. And if you take a look here, May and June are 2 more months that are going to see a lot of inventory hitting the housing market before the number of listings that are hitting the housing market starts declining. Well, we still got a 2 more month swing of inventory at high levels. And look how much higher June has been here in some of these months. Is this waiting for us, this May and June dump in 2025? If it is, this gap is only going to probably widen. It's going to be interesting to pay attention to that. Now, I want to show you what's going on right here as well. This right here covers total number of homes sold. If you go to 2019, you see that the number of solds right here, third quarter, essentially home sales, pending sales, do not peak until the third quarter and do not decline. Only the fourth quarter, once school year starts, November, December, and January, those were the only 3 months where inventory would actually decrease, or not inventory, the amount of homes being sold. So November, October, November, and December. October, November, and December are the 3 months where inventory is potentially going to be growing because that's where the sales are declining. Well, let me see if I'm blocking anything here. And if you take a look at 2020, same holds true right here. Only the fourth quarter, right? Start seeing the decline. All of that was true until 2022, right here, peaks in the second quarter. And ever since 2022, the second half has seen 2 quarters, half of the year, declining in the number of homes sold, which is why you're seeing inventory grow and why you're seeing it become a buyer's market in the second half. Essentially, the first half becomes a seller's market, second half becomes a buyer's market. Now, I want to show you what's happening with home prices as well. This way you can see and say, hey, if inventory is growing, if inventory is potentially going to continue exploding, separating itself, well, let me show you here what's happening with the median price. Now, if you take a look here, we peaked actually at 600,000. This goes by quarters. So essentially when it goes by quarters, it's taking June, not May. The housing market peaked in May. The housing market also bottomed out in January of 2013. However, that's the beginning of the first quarter. So this graphic gives us a little bit of an idea of what's going on. So you're seeing this right here. These are the 9 months of consecutive price drops. Then the prices go up the first half, down, they go up and down. But look at the difference here to start 2024. We are actually going to hear in this quarter, March and April, prices did rebound a little bit from this 553,000. But essentially, you're seeing multiple quarters of decline. You're not even seeing really essentially this nice rebound like you've seen in 23 and 24. What is that going to entail when the second half of 2025 comes? Is it going to entail something like this that we saw in 2022? We do have recession talks. That's what we had in 2022. We had inventory increasing. That's what we had in 2022. A lot of resemblances to 2022, and the housing market is moving much slower than the previous year. Again, another resemblance to 2022. Now, hit me up. Let's strategize. Let's get you a great deal. If you're a seller, hit me up because you need to get your house on the market ASAP right now. You don't want to wait for the second half to come. And if you're a buyer, I have a bunch of buyers hitting me up. I'm getting buyers the best deals out there because I'm able to negotiate for them to let them take advantage of what's going on. I give the data, give the strategy that's out there, the different strategies you can take. And in that way, you can say, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that, based on the numbers, based on data. All I do is I give you the data based on the market, based on what you're trying to accomplish, and that way you have everything that you need to make the decision. I also did send that inventory email out. Some people's emails bounced back. If you did not receive that, make sure that you re-sign up to the link that's down below. That way I can resend that over to you because some people's emails, again, did bounce back, and it's going to be broken down into the different counties. That way you're able to take a look at the county and pay attention to the inventory growth in the county and in the cities that you're interested in.